Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3439. Today's date is 6th of June 2025. It's been almost like morning at 7:09 a.m. Yesterday I haven't really recorded Artifact, so that's why I decided to record Artifact this morning. During the morning, it felt little good to record, and yeah. By the way, I feel really good. Yeah, because of my voice, it's like a little bit feel heavy. It's not heavy. Yeah, I just woke up, brushed my teeth, and yeah, that's why I'm kind of like a talking. All right, we directly jump into the question. All right, yeah. Question is, what type of business startup are there in India, and which one suits startup best? Okay, this question is actually based for like a basically business question. Okay, and I wanted to know about business and startup. I didn't really have any information regarding about startup and business, nothing really at all. And I wanted to know because in the future I wanted to establish some sort of business and startup. All right, yeah. So that's why I just need to know everything. Oh yeah. So regarding about question, what is exactly the question? Question is about the business. It's about the what kind of like a something business that you could do in India. Types of business. What is exactly types of business? There are multiple types of business. Okay, yeah. Business is not just kind of like a somebody selling the product and earning the money. No, you can do this thing by various ways because if you are talking about the business, then earning money by selling product, it just kind of like a simply it's just a very basic thing. Okay, yeah, because in the business there are a lot of things that you could earn money. There is a lot of stuff that you could figure it out. There is so many things. Okay, yeah, so let's talk about okay what kind of like a simply types of business that you could do in India. Okay, there is a first type is that solo proprietorship. Okay, yeah, that's the name of the solo proprietorship. Okay, so what is exactly the solo proprietorship? Okay, a solo proprietorship business. Okay, it's really hard to explain, but yeah, this business is meant for such a particular person who is like um like a kirana store or any kind of like a something saloon or any kind of like a something vendor or the person who is actually selling the tea, okay, to the people. These are called as a kind of like a something solo proprietorship business. Okay, yeah, you actually seen everywhere. Okay, yeah, like the thele wala, the person who is actually selling the vada pav, the person who is actually um, selling the chai. Okay, momos, tapri wala, um, Manchurian, Chinese Manchurian wala. Okay, yeah. So these are kind of like a simply solo proprietorship. Okay, yeah. Kirana store is not included in solo proprietorship business. Let me tell you one something why. Okay, yeah. So first of all, let's just understand what is actually solo proprietorship businessman. It's a kind of like a simply you and your business are one. Okay, yeah. What do you mean by that? It means that there is no difference between you and your business. What do you mean? Like basically, I don't know about you, okay, yeah, but one of my friend love to eat um, Rathodchi pani puri. Yeah, Yeah, it's a kind of like a something like the pani puri wala who the name of his pani puri is a Rathod ki pani puri. It was literally famous in here in Wardha, Maharashtra. Okay, yeah. So most of the time we went there. Okay, Rathod ki pani puri. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki the person who is actually own that particular thela, that person named Rathod, and that thelewala who is actually selling the pani puri is one. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's like that na ki is there is a like a something like that ki if the thelewala is not available, then probably we should call the Rathod uncle that कि भैया आपने ठेला कहाँ पे लगाया है, और like where did you put your ठेला or somewhere. Okay, yeah. So basically you and your business is one. Okay, yeah. And you are kind of like connected, and because of you the business will not gonna run. Okay, yeah. Like sorry, because of without you business will not gonna run. Like basically the Rathod uncle is actually selling the pani puri. Without Rathod uncle no one buys no one buys the pani puri. Okay, yeah. Like basically this is what it is. Okay, yeah. He is a kind of like a one person army who is kind of like a somebody selling the pani puri for all those people. Okay, yeah. So this is called kind of like a somebody solo proprietorship business. Okay, yeah. Good thing about solo proprietorship business is that it can easy to start. Okay, yeah. Very easy to start. You don't really require any land, or you don't really require any permission. You don't really require like nothing really at all. Okay, just I'm living in India. Thele wala is really common are here. Okay, yeah. Like people who are actually kind of like a selling their stuff from the kind of like a somebody by removable, so or kind of like a something mobile hela that you could sell something. Okay, yeah. It's are very popular are here. Okay, yeah. You don't really require any permission. You don't really require any kind of like land or nothing really at all. Whenever you are, whatever you are, you just like put your thela and sell your product to the people. That's it. Okay, yeah. That is called kind of like a solo proprietorship business. Whatever the profit that you earn from solo proprietorship business is you. Okay, yeah. Is went to you. Okay, yeah. Like you don't really have a kind of like a something sharing your profit to the someone else. No, nothing really at all. You might kind of like a something add a couple of people that would kind of like a something help you. You have to give them a salary. Okay, yeah. Like as I mentioned, the for in Rathod uncle they have kind of like a guy who is kind of like a um something really that key washing the dishes and things like that. So Rathod uncle gave him little bit some sort of salary, but just a salary, not profit. The profit is actually kind of like a went towards the Rathod uncle. Okay, yeah. So basically the owner and businessman is you. Okay, yeah. But there is a problem too if there is a loss. Okay, yeah. If the Rathod uncle won't be able to sell the pani puri, then probably the whatever the loss, Rathod uncle will bear that loss. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is. So basically, if the profit, if that solo proprietorship generate profit in the business, then probably all those profit belongs to the owner who created this solo proprietorship business, who create this like a thela and things like that. If the losses will happen, then probably all the losses is actually bear by the ownership. All the losses is actually bear by the uh, Rathod uncle. That's it. Okay, yeah. So this is called kind of like a simply solo proprietorship. The problem in solo proprietorship is that you can't grow. Yeah, the only chance that you could grow is kind of like improve your product. Okay, yeah, people loves it, and you are kind of like increasing the price and something. people will love to buy your product, and they are paying some sort of money. Because of the profit you earn little bit amount of money. Oh yeah. So the growth of the solo proprietorship business is very less. Yeah, like almost like a, it all depend on profit. Yeah, that's it. It all depend on profit. Another thing, solo proprietorship business doesn't really have stable income. Okay, yeah. Like basically, basically is this thing that key you actually earn some certain amount of money during the night, during the day, or like basically is this thing that key like in a one day Rathod uncle earns almost like a maybe 6 to 7 thousand rupees per day. Okay, yeah. So basically, if I calculate 6 to 7 thousand rupees into 28 days, so wait, let me calculate. Okay, yeah. I know that ki, like the people who actually kind of like selling the product in Telewala, they are actually on so much amount of money. Yeah. If I just say 6,000 rupees into 28 days, so probably Rathod uncle is actually earning almost like a 1,68,000, which is like a really good amount of money. Okay, it's not really bad, but it's a good amount of money in this particular business. 1,06,000, and by the way, material are included. Okay, yeah, the prices require so the product required like a like a product required some sort of material. That material cost is included in this 1,68,000. Okay, yeah. So get it. So regarding about this thing, growth will happen slowly. Okay, yeah, very slowly. Okay, it's you can like you can kind of like a something on like a you, if you earn so much amount of money, then probably you add multiple thele wala in different region of city. That might kind of like a something good. But the thele wala business is kind of like a very different. Okay, yeah, what do you mean by that? It means by that na ki it means by that ki every customer has its own kind of like a something that ki own thing that we should supposed to be like. Basically is this thing na ki if I wanted to eat Chinese, I directly went to Raghu. Okay, Raghu Thele wala who is actually making Chinese is really good. Okay, yeah, this is it. Okay, yeah, like basically this is my first choice that I have to go to the Raghu wala. Okay, yeah. If I wanted to eat momos, then I have to go Yummy Momos. Okay, yeah, Yummy Momos is also Thele wala who is actually selling the momos. So I have to go there, Yummy Momos. Okay, yeah. So every customer has its own kind of like a something the Thele wala that they love to eat from there. Okay, yeah. So expanding business or expanding multiple Thele wala, that means you are entering in kind of like a something entering in the business where multiple people are kind of like doing the competition and things like that, and it's very hard to like hard to sustain in new place and things like that, because in the Thele wala the future is not sustainable. Okay, the value of the product and kind of like a people loves it or not, there is a very delusion thing. Okay, yeah. Like basically if your Thele wala is not available, then people will might gonna buy some sort of product from another Thele wala. So this is what it is. Okay, so probably the customer relation between you and your Thele wala, it has to be good. Okay, yeah. uh, if you have that kind of like a customer relationship, then you would be kind of like a somebody surviving really good. Oh yeah. There is a one person that I wanted to mention regarding about establishing a business. Okay, yeah. I live in Wardha, and I live in Wardha, and actually I love lassi. Okay, yeah. Lassi is a Indian cuisine, by the way, and I love lassi. And there is a one guy who is actually selling the lassi. It was really good. the guy from New York school, okay, sorry, New English school. New English school is in Wardha, Maharashtra. It's a school, okay, yeah. And beside that, there is a guy who is actually selling the lassi, okay, yeah. He was actually selling the lassi since the childhood. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, since the childhood, I know that he was actually selling the lassi, and still he was selling the lassi, okay, yeah. His lassi is like a really good, like a really great, okay, yeah. Like every time I will have kind of like a some opportunity, I went there and just drink his lassi. It was like really incredible, really amazing, yeah. But one of the kind of like a something really great thing about this particular person is that he, the way that he talk with the customer is like a really good. Hello sir, how are you sir, good morning sir, okay, how much do you need, okay, 2 glass of lassi, okay, yeah, this is 2 glass of lassi. Or like a basically if he required some sort of time, just wait for a minute and then, okay sir, this is your 2 glass of lassi. What do you mean by that? Like basically is this thing, the way that he interact with the customer is really good, is really positive, that the customer are actually loving them, okay, yeah. Yeah, literally I love them, the way that he interact, and that is kind of like a something add value to the customer, and it is feel really good, okay, yeah. And not only for the customer but as also the kind of like something the owner, that lassi wala owner, really good, okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a somebody solo proprietorship business, okay, yeah. It actually best for vendors, it actually best for kind of like a somebody thele wala, okay, yeah, get it. Now there is another type of business is two or more friends doing the business, or partnership firm, okay, yeah. What's a partnership firm? A partnership firm is a kind of like a something you and your particular person is actually establishing some sort of business and you are running the business. Example, kirana store, okay, like as I mentioned, the solo proprietorship doesn't include kirana store, okay, yeah. Kirana store is actually included in kind of like a something partnership firm. What do you mean by that? Why not kirana store is not solo proprietorship, okay, yeah. In solo proprietorship business, as I mentioned earlier, it requires some sort of land, okay, yeah, it requires some sort of land okay, at least sorry, uh, solo proprietorship business, it doesn't really require any of land, yeah. You just whatever it place you get, you just sell your product, okay, yeah. It doesn't really require any kind of like a place or time, nothing like at all. But the partnership firm, you required at least a place, yeah. A place is really essential, okay, yeah. So kirana store or a cafe store or any kind of like a something that you could buy things from some sort of place, okay. A place means like that, a kind of like a place where you can't move, okay. Like a basically a thele wala can move his bandi from one place to another place, that is called solo proprietorship. But the kind of like a place that you can't move okay, yeah, a kind of like a something kirana store or kind of like a cafe or things like that, this is kind of like a something partnership firm, okay, yeah. How this is kind of like a partnership firm, okay, yeah. So basically in the partnership, you and your buddy are kind of like a something doing the business, or in specific in Indian point of perspective, mostly partnership firm are kirana store, okay, yeah. And kirana store is actually run by the generation of the people, yeah, legit generation of the people. Like basically if the father is actually started doing kirana store and the kirana store work really well, then probably his son is kind of like a putting the effort for that kirana store, and he is also kind of like a something put the effort or put kind of like a, some sort of help to run that particular kirana store and things like that. So basically is this thing that uh, the mostly kirana store in India are kind of like a run by the owner as well as their son, okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a partnership firm, okay, yeah. And mostly those partners are associated with the family relatives, okay, yeah. Like a son or father, or kind of like a two brother are kind of like a started kind of like a something cafe or things like that, okay. Or like basically couple of year ago, my sister and like and the husband of my sister, what should I name? Okay, I there is a name for bhauji, okay, in Marathi term. I'm not really sure for English term. So my sister and my bhauji, who's actually kind of like a establish a cafe which is also a partnership firm business. It means that ki you run your business according to the kind of like a something, whatever the profit that you generate and things like that, that profit will kind of like a something separate in two parts. Okay, yeah. Okay, like two owners or two partners. Okay, yeah. But the concept is equivalent to the same. Okay, yeah, means like that you don't really require any permission, you don't really require anything at all, you just need a land. That's it, you just need a land and GST tax filation. Okay, probably like basically from Indian point of perspective, GST is really essential for kind of like a simply for the people who are actually selling some sort of product and things and that. Probably I'm not really sure about this thing, but yeah, GST is also really included. But you don't really require that much like rules, or you don't really require that much kind of like a something like a document and things like that. You just need a land. Okay, yeah. Maybe if your land or a rental land, whatever it is. Okay, yeah, the land is really essential, the place is really essential, and you just have to sell the product. That's it. Okay, yeah. The same thing happened in solo proprietorship. Whatever the profit done generated, the profit is actually distribute in equal with partners. If there is a losses, then probably that losses will gonna sustain by the both the partner. Okay, yeah, this is what kind of like a something partnership form. All right, yeah. Now third is that, wait, one person company. Okay, yeah, what's a one person company? That's OPC. Wait. Oh boy. Sorry, I have a little bit some sort of headache. Whatever. Okay, so what is exactly the one person company? Okay, yeah. So one person company is a little bit something different. Okay, yeah. As I mentioned, solo proprietorship business means you don't really require any land, you don't really require any rules or nothing really at all. Yeah. Whatever you wanted to sell your business, you can sell your business. That is called solo proprietorship. A partnership firm, that little bit required some sort of land probably. Okay, a land, at least a land. Okay, yeah. A kirana store or cafe is kind of like a something called as a partnership firm or things like that. Okay, yeah. One person company, that is a very different concept. Okay, yeah. What's a one person company? A jewelry business. Okay, yeah. Like if you are selling the jewelry, okay, yeah, that means you have a particular land or particular store. Okay, yeah, as well as you have couple of employees that work for you. That is called one person company. Okay, yeah. Jeweler is a kind of like a something that good example. Okay, but probably is this thing one person company, I'm just giving the example. Okay, yeah. Jeweler is a like mostly jeweler business is also run by the partnership firm too, or also kind of like a something one person company too. Okay, yeah. So what is exactly this one person company? Okay, yeah. So what is actually this one person company? Okay, yeah. So regarding about the one person company is like I'm just giving the example as a kind of like a something like that key jewelry business. Okay, you have a place, you have couple of employees who are kind of like a something is selling the jewelry to the customer. Okay, and you are earning profit. Okay, you are not doing anything at all. Okay, yeah, you are just kind of like a some chairman who sit on the bench and kind of like a controlling the people. Okay, yeah, that is called one company, one person company. Mostly these companies are like a jewelry business or textile, sorry, or clothing business. Okay, clothing business means like that ki you own the place. Okay, yeah, and there is a couple of people, customer wanted to buy some sort of clothes. Okay, yeah, you have employees. That employees are kind of like a giving them kind of like a what they want, customer what they want, and customer buy those clothes and things like that. Okay, yeah, and they are kind of like a giving the money to the owner. Owner is actually giving salary to the employee. That is called one person company. Okay, yeah, one person company does really require some sort of paperwork, okay, regarding about the GST taxation violation. Okay, yeah, then regarding about the land, you do really require the land. Okay, yeah, land is really essential. Okay, yeah. Then probably yeah, there is some sort of like, I'm not really sure what kind of like sort of paperwork, yeah, but there is some sort of paperwork to do. Okay, yeah, you really require to give the kind of like a receipt to the customer. Okay, yeah, regarding about what they buy and things like that. Okay, so this is what kind of like it's only one person company. A clothing business or kind of like a some jewelry business or things like that, you are the owner, you are not doing anything. You hire the employee and they will do work for you. Okay, yeah, and you are giving them salary. In this particular one person company, you might own an entire kind of like a something store, that jewelry store or that clothing store. Okay, yeah, or maybe you and your particular partner who's actually own that particular thing, but most of the thing partner is not that. Okay, mostly the person who is kind of like a partner, mostly family relatives, like son or yeah, or brother or things like that. Yeah, these are kind of like the things. Regarding about profit, whatever the profit that they generated is owned by the owner. Okay, yeah, whatever the losses is actually happen is actually bear by the owner and things like that. Okay, yeah, this is called one person company. Then there is also fourth type of business, that is called limited liability partnership. Okay, yeah, what's a limited liability partnership? Limited liability partnership is a something very different thing. I don't know about this thing. Okay, yeah, but what exactly what does it do is that ki um it's a kind of like a something that ki it's the same thing as a one person company, but whatever the profit that you generated. Okay, yeah, whatever kind of like a something. Okay, there is a pointer here is that ki good point regarding about the. Okay, wait. Okay, so limited liability partnership means like that. Think of it as a partnership, but with the twist: the partner personal belonging generally safe. If the business run into the trouble, good point. Good for two or more people. Your personal stuff safe to the business debt. Complicated rules, full blown company. Still not easiest way to get outside from the investment. Yeah. Okay, so same thing happened with the limited liability partnership. Okay, yeah. Probably is this thing that ki you don't really get the investment. Okay, yeah. By the way, previously as I mentioned, like a LLP, um, one person company, solo proprietorship or partnership firm, they don't really get any investment from the people or stranger or nothing really at all. Like yeah, like basically if the person that you know and that person wanted to invest some sort of money, that can do that, but basically you can't do investment over there, nothing really at all, because they are not promising growth, because their growth is a kind of like a something depends on the customers behaviors and things like that. Only all the business kind of like affects on that thing, but basically you can't do that. There is no kind of like a long term projection goals and things like that. Okay, so investment doesn't really happen. As well as this businessman, this limited liability partnership is equivalent to a one person company too, but with a kind of like a multiple partner. Okay, yeah. Mostly that partner are family relatives. I belong to the India, and mostly partner are associated with the family relatives. And basically whatever the profit that generated is owned by the owner. Whatever the losses that generated, which is actually covered by the kind of like a something, like what exactly happened now. It's okay. So so basically is this thing that key, um whatever the profit is actually happened, that profit is you, but you are investing some sort of amount of money for things went wrong, kind of like a something insurance. Okay, yeah. Like basically is this saying that key, if your jewelry store is actually robbed by someone, or your clothing store is actually caught by the fire and things like that, so that is something really wrong. Okay, yeah. So what exactly is this thing that key, you are kind of like a something paying some sort of money for insurance. Okay, by the way, this insurance actually work on every other kind of like a business and things like that, but still this LFP, like LFP or limited liability partnership. Okay, yeah, in this particular thing they are bound to invest some sort of money for kind of like a some insurance and things like that. Okay, because one person company or like a limited liability partnership are meant to be kind of like a simply a bigger thing. Okay, yeah, means your investment comes in crore. Okay, yeah, and you have bunch of employees to work with you and things like that. You are not doing anything, you just kind of like a sit, the employee do the everything and things like that. Okay, yeah, you have to give them salary. But one person company is a kind of like a profit is your, whatever the problem is actually happening in the business is up to you. The kind of like a something like the limited liability partnership, it means that you are paying some sort of money for insurance for kind of like a something went wrong. Then probably how do we supposed to recover that losses? Okay, insurance is actually come through. Okay, you are paying some sort of money to the insurance company, LIC, or there are so many insurance company for protecting the kind of like a some commercial business. Okay, yeah. So you are paying some sort of amount of money every month. Okay, yeah. And then if something wrong, like the jewelry business like a robbed by someone else, or cloth kind of like a store caught up with the fire and things like that, then probably at that moment that insurance money that you are actually spending for years, they will claim the money and they will kind of like somebody try to renovate and things like that. That insurance company will kind of like somebody prevent your asset or prevent your commercial business, and they will try to kind of like something renovate or try to recreate or everything. You don't really require that, you don't have to pay that much amount of money. Insurance money will kind of like a something refund you, or kind of like a something provide you all those money to kind of like a rebuild your commercial business again. Okay, yeah. Like it's a kind of like a safe side for yourself. If things went wrong, then probably we have all those insurance and things like that. Okay, these are insurance is also kind of like a done by the personal buy. Okay, yeah, like it's not kind of like a something only for like a limited liability for like yeah, no, as a one person company or any kind of like a something business owner can do the business, can do the insurance by himself. Okay, it doesn't really require any kind of like a something business, it required kind of like a something a person with a normal, because of the government investment, because of the government are kind of like a pushing the small business owner to kind of like a something do something good for themselves. So basically they are kind of like a providing kind of like a something insurance cover for them to kind of like if something wrong, then we will kind of like a provide you this and that. So yeah, that insurance money is really essential for not only for this type of business but every types of business. Okay, yeah. It kind of like a something active kind of like a something barrier and things like that. Then there is a fifth and one of the most popular business in India is a private limited company. Okay, private limited company is a really good, really great in most of the factor. Okay, first of all is that key, um, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, yeah, all those business are you and your business are kind of like a attached to each other. Okay, yeah, like solo proprietorship you are so close, like you and your business are one. Okay, yeah. But since you have started going further, like basically partnership firm or one person company or limited liability company or things like that, the difference between you and your business are little bit away. But the private limited company is a kind of like a very different game. Private limited company means like that ki you and your business is kind of like a two different thing, legit two different thing. Okay, yeah. So that means whatever the profit that generate, that profit belongs to the company, not you. Okay, yeah. You will gain. Okay, first of all, okay, let me tell you one thing. What exactly happened? Okay, whatever the profit is actually generated by that particular private limited company is belong to the private limited company. Whatever the losses is actually happened is also kind of like a belongs to that private limited company. Okay, yeah. Now if you are owner of that private limited company, you have particular share. Okay, yeah. Share means like that ki how much ownership that I have. Okay, yeah. So if I'm saying that I have 93% of ownership, 7% of ownership is actually depend on multiple investors and things like that. Okay, yeah. So whatever the profit that you generated, almost like a 93% of profit is your. Okay, yeah. If the kind of like a loss is actually happened, then 93% of loss is also yours too. Okay, yeah. Also yours too, but still it's a very different thing. It's not you, it's a kind of like a something like that ki you own the particular kind of like a ownership, but the money and the kind of like some issues and the profit is actually it's kind of like a somebody is this thing now. You own the particular company. Okay, yeah. That company will earn money from the profit and things like that. Whatever the losses happen, that kind of like a something, that company will sustain that thing too. Okay, yeah. Regarding about whatever the money that you earn from the profit and things like that, it's a very different thing. Okay, yeah. And as you as a owner are kind of like a something have percentage of ownership. Okay, yeah. Like a 70%, 80%. Okay, yeah. Even if your idea and you are putting all the effort and things like that, you are still, because your investor is actually invest some sort of amount of money. Okay, yeah. Now there is a problem. Okay, there is also, it's not a problem, it's a kind of like a thing that I wanted to mention. Okay, yeah. First of all, let's just understand what is actually the private limited company. A private limited company, it does not kind of like a something like that ki a private limited company means like that uh, a Facebook, a YouTube, a Google. Okay, yeah. Or any kind of like a something like that company who Amazon, Flipkart. Okay, yeah. These are kind of like a simply private limited company. Okay, it's a very big thing I'm talking about. Amazon or any kind of like a something like that car manufacturing company, Tata or Mercedes or whatever it is. It's a private limited company. It's a very big company. Okay, yeah. It not only required a structure of business, means it really required kind of like a something that it does have employees, not only employees but manager as well as kind of like a president, vice president. Okay, yeah. Then chairman. Okay, and then owner is bigger thing. Okay, yeah. If you are try to think about this thing, the owner is a kind of like owns the everything but will not run the business. Okay, yeah. The chairman does run the business. Okay, yeah. Like example is this saying that ki uh, Facebook is founded by the Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, yeah, right now he is a chairman. Okay, yeah, he is a chairman. Yes, CEO, but he wanted to retire. He wanted to retire, so he will be a founder or he will be a owner. But whatever the kind of like a decision is actually happen in the Facebook is actually decision actually come by the chairman, CEO. Okay, yeah. So if you are the owner, okay, yeah, you are not directly involved in running the business. You are earning money from that particular business, but you are not really involved in operation of that particular business. Things nothing really at all. Okay, you just own the business. You just kind of like a look at the number and things like that. You might have give the kind of like a advice to the kind of like a something like owner, something like the chairman that ki, this is wrong and this is right and this is, and that owner will kind of like a simply work on you, because yeah, in the end you are kind of like a something. Yeah, like a example is this thing na ki, let's just say Apple. Okay, Steve Jobs is a founder, is a chairman. Okay, but after he died, okay, Tim Cook is a chairman. Okay, yeah. But the ownership and the founder is actually a Steve Jobs. Okay, it's not a Tim Cook. Okay, yeah, it's a Steve Jobs. The whatever the operation required to kind of like assembly what kind of like iPhone good or not, or what kind of like a decision should I supposed to make the iPhone good or bad, it kind of like a something decision is made by the Tim Cook because he is the chairman. Oh yeah, so this is what kind of like a something private limited company. Oh, a private limited company is really good. You can attract the investor too regarding about your growth and things like that. Also your growth is also exponential too. Okay, exponential means like that ki you are not only kind of like a something targeting just a couple of customer from your city. No, you are targeting customer from like a countries or global or things like that. So maybe you have millions or billions in customer. Oh yeah, literally yes. So this is what something it is it. So when you have that particular thing, then probably your growth will be exponential. When the growth is exponential, you can kind of like something have multiple owners. Okay, yeah, multiple investor who actually invest some sort of money. Then you have to give them percentage of ownership, 1%, 2%, 3%. Okay, yeah, because they are not they are own your company 1%, 2%. Okay, yeah, because they kind of like invest some sort of amount of money. Okay, um it is actually best for startup. It is actually best for kind of like establishing things and that. Okay, yeah, it's really good, it's really great. Okay, yeah, this is one of the best. Okay, as also you will get a growth and things like that. Okay, and it's one of the favorite thing. Okay, yeah, everyone like every business company wants to be a private limited company. Okay, yeah, but that private limited company does really require some sort of ideas and things like that. Okay, yeah, as well as I mentioned earlier, private limited company is really good for kind of like somebody getting growth and things like that. But it's very hard to sustain this thing because competition is really tough, really tough. Okay, yeah. And regarding about progress and regarding about choices that you make to product good as good or not, it kind of like impact on you. So probably you have to bit more focus on making your product or services as good as possible as you can. Okay, yeah. So yes, and it impact on kind of like a so many levels. As also there is lot of paperwork, lots of paperwork to do regarding about everything, regarding about the who is actually people, the director and everything. A lot. Okay, not only with the government of your country but as also government from another country too. Like basically like if I am the company from India and if I wanted to scale up in global, like if I wanted to scale up in Europe, then probably I really required permission in a European Union, or like yeah, that I wanted to establish this business and things like that. So you have to kind of like something give them some sort of incentive or things like that. They will also give the some sort of incentive because you are generating some sort of jobs to the people over there, so it is really essential for them to. Okay, yeah. So it kind of like somebody help both the party, not only you but as well as government too. Okay, yeah. And whatever the money that you are actually earning, you are earning money in kind of like a millions. Yeah, like a millions and billions. Yeah, you will earn so much amount of money, but still when you have so much amount of money, that means you have responsibility to pay the money to the people and things, and that it's lot of things. Okay, yeah, but still it's a really good thing. Now there is also another which is much bigger. It's called public limited company. Okay, yeah, what's a public limited company? A public limited company is a very different thing. Okay, yeah, it's not kind of like a somebody selling the product, it's selling the trust. Yeah, trust. What do you mean by trust? Okay, yeah, because all those businesses in previously that we actually mentioned, they are kind of like a selling some sort of product or some sort of services. Okay, yeah, a jewelry business, a clothing business, or kind of like a Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is. Those are product, are digital product. Okay, yeah, or kind of like a product. Okay, service or product. But the public limited company is selling the trust. Yeah, it's selling the trust. What do you mean? You don't really understand what is actually meaning of that. Okay, yeah. Okay, so basically public limited company is mostly such a company who are associate with the share market, associate with the stock market, associate with the trading, associate with the, yeah, trading business and things like that. Okay, yeah. Because in this particular thing, okay, yeah, the company that they have, they are kind of like a providing trust to the such a people, that key, the people who wanted to invest some sort of amount of money. Okay, yeah, who do we supposed to invest money? Okay, who do we supposed to invest money? Like basically, I have 25 lakh rupees. I wanted to invest some sort of money. Where do I invest some sort of money? I need a kind of like a trust now, so that I would supposed to be invest money, so that my money, so that the whatever the money that I will get after some sort of year, it should supposed to be higher, like I get higher returns. Okay, yeah. So I have multiple options. First of all, gold. Okay, gold is a kind of like a natural commodity where you could invest, but the growth is actually happen very less in here. Okay, in gold. Okay, you could invest money on oil and crudes and things like that, but these are kind of like something such an asset which can grow very less in limited amount of time. Okay, yeah. If you wanted to kind of like invest some sort of money, and that you wanted to kind of like get higher returns, then probably you should supposed to be invest a such a company where they are offering trust. They are offering trust. Okay, so what is actually offering trust? It means that when you wanted to buy some sort of share market, or when you wanted to buy some sort of kind of like a something like that key, something like that key kind of like a something, like a, like just example say, SBI, SBI private limited sorry, public limited company, things like that. Okay, yeah, which is actually listed in stock market. Okay, yeah. SBI is a company, is a bank, by the way. SBI is a bank, State Bank of India. Okay, yeah. It has a kind of like a something in its own value, because SBI is actually serving in India for more than 100 years. Okay, yeah. So it has kind of like a something, already has a kind of like a popularity in India. Okay, yeah. And as also trust. Okay, yeah, because this bank is will not gonna fail and things like that. So basically, this bank already has a trust. Okay, yeah. So basically, what does this bank do? This bank is actually create a kind of like a firm. Okay, and that firm called as a kind of like a simply public limited company. Okay, as I mentioned, the information that I'm telling you right now, I'm not really sure is it right or not, but I'm trying to explain this thing as simple as possible as I know. Okay, yeah. Is that key, because of, it's kind of like a simply the firm that who's kind of like a simply figure it out the share market, figure it out kind of like investment and things like that. So basically, you are like when you see the kind of like a listed market, and when you see the SBI public limited company. Okay, yeah, then you are actually invest at least like whatever amount of money on that particular company. Okay, yeah, because you have a trust. Okay, yeah, you have that particular trust regarding about that particular company and things like that. Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a simply the public limited company. Okay, yeah. Now what does it happen, like what does it kind of like a simply give us to the people? What does it kind of like a simply, what does it do, yeah, specifically? Okay, I'm not really sure about the trading market and kind of like a sort of mutual fund and things like that, because I don't really have that much information. But still, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. What does that, like let's just say there is a SBI, um, SBI public limited company. What does it do is that key, whatever the money that comes from the investment. Okay, like basically I invest 25 lakh rupees. So like me, there are hundreds of people who are kind of like somebody wanted to invest some sort of money, because I have trust regarding about SBI and things like that. So collecting all those money, they have almost like a 1 crore, just example 1 crore of rupees. Okay, yeah. So what does they do? In the firm, they have kind of like a something very expert trading personnel. They have kind of like a somebody very knows that ki when the market went up, when the market went down, what, where do I supposed to invest money or things like that. So that not only the firm will get profited, as well as kind of like a something that the customer or kind of like our investor is also get the profited. So they have only one purpose. So they are actually invest money in multiple commodities. for multiple period of time, or kind of like a something. It is lot of thing. Okay, yeah, because they have 1 CR of rupees, they are actually invest so much amount of money in multiple assets or multiple companies. They have all those information regarding about which company should supposed to be earn more, which company should supposed to be, because all those money, all those kind of like a company's growth is actually depend on their what kind of like a progress that they are doing or things like that. So basically they invest their money, like the whatever the money investor is actually put that particular firm, that firm is actually invest money to the other investment, to the other kind of like a commodities or things like that, and whatever the money that will they will get, they will kind of like a separate it to the firms and to the investment, things like that. So basically that firm is also earn money too, and as well as kind of like a something, the customer who is actually invested money, they will also earn money too. Okay, yeah. So so basically it's a kind of like a simply private limit or public limited company. Okay, yeah, it's a very big thing. Okay, yeah. Is that trust is really essential. Like you don't really kind of, you don't want to be kind of like a invest some sort of money on kind of like a random company name that you don't know it. No, nothing at all. You just need a kind of like a something. Yeah. So there is a kind of like a something, so much thing that you have like a Tata or Reliance or SBI or ICICI. These are kind of like a things. Okay, yeah. So this is a giant company for want to sell the share to anyone stock market, like a Reliance and Tata, as I mentioned, can rain enormous amount of money from the public. Yeah, because as an investor, we are not investor, we are just a public, and we don't really have that much information regarding about the stock market and things like that. So we will give money to such a people who are really expert in that particular thing, that will kind of like a give me high return in particular period of time. Okay, yeah. It's really good, it's really great. Okay, yeah. But it does really require trust. Okay, yeah. It does really require, if that trust is broken, then probably it's very wrong. But most of time this didn't really happen. Okay, and mostly these public limited company are associated with the share market, stock market. Yeah, these are things. Now there is a non-profit company too. Yeah, non-profit company means NGOs or kind of like a things. They are kind of like a doing good for the people. They are doing good for kind of like a something like a things, or yeah, it's also really good, like a kind of like a helping some sort of medicine to the villager peoples and things like that. They are not kind of like a have so much amount of profit. Okay, they don't really get so much amount of profit. It's a kind of like a something, a community service. Okay, yeah. It's good, it's great. Okay, yeah, you will get very tax benefit. You will earn little bit amount of money too as a NGOs and things like that. With the marketing and things like that, you will get funded, you will get charity. Okay, yeah. But yeah, these are kind of like a sort of non-profit organization or non-profit company. All right. So these are kind of like some types of company. Okay, yeah. Now regarding about business, what kind of like a business, or what kind of like a business that I wanted to do. Okay, so basically regarding about me, regarding about my business is a my artifact, and I wanted to kind of like establish a private limited company. Yeah, because it is the best, it is a good, and not only attract the investor, but as well as I would add growth and things like that. So yeah. So this is it. I should supposed to be in here, and thank you.